so much. Hello, teachers. Welcome back to another episode of Teachers Help Teachers. I'm your host, Esther Yoon, and with me I have two phenomenal teachers from the school that we work at together, two upper grade teachers, Yvette Franco and Mindy Nieland. Welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Yvette Franco taught for 23 years. She taught all grades K through 5, and she, like I said, is currently teaching 5th grade. She's been using Google Classroom for the last 7 years. And Mindy Nieland joins us. She's a teacher of 8 years, and she's taught 5th and 6th grade. And she's been using Google Class the last 4 years. And I have to say, I myself personally, and many members of our staff would say that they learned a whole lot last year during a PD closer to the summer about Google Classroom, thanks to these terrific two teachers. Welcome to the program again.
Thank you, Esther.
Thank you. So Yvette, I want to throw the first question at you. Could you tell us what subjects? No, actually, I take that back. I'm going to throw it to you, Mindy.
Okay.
Mindy, could you tell us what subjects? And you're not off the hook, Yvette. You're going to be asked the same question. Could you tell us what subjects you cover and how you organize your Google Classroom with assignments, announcements, and other files?
Sure. Well, as a 5th grade teacher, I teach all subjects, and I've been using Google Classroom when we were in the classroom often, and then now it's obviously my main form of communication with my students while we're doing distance learning. And what I found is that in organizing my Google Classroom, I feel like it's kind of like organizing a kitchen or closet. Like, you have to find what works best for you, and sometimes something might not work, and then you have to change a little bit. But I can share my screen with you and share how I've organized it, which seems to work really well for me right now.
Please do.
So would that be okay if I shared my screen?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. All right. So this is my Google Classroom right over here. Move that over a little bit. And I made like a little Bitmoji header, and what my students will see this is what my students will see when they log in. And the first place I want them to look is classwork, the classwork tab, which is why I put the finger pointing to the classwork tab. That's the first. I try to make it very simple for them. Click here. I even put a click on the classwork tab to view your assignment. So it's very easy for them to see exactly where to go.
Great tip.
So, yeah. So they'll click on the classwork tab, and it'll take them right here. Let me move this over just a little bit. And I have my assignments all organized by date. So this is what's coming up next week. And the reason why it's kind of grayed out is because it's not going to show up until Monday, May 11th.
Exactly.
So that's why it's kind of grayed out right here. And it's easy to move things around. The reason I like it this way is this pretty much looked like how my agenda on my board in the classroom looked.
Yes.
So I have things kind of in the same order as what we would do in the classroom. I always started with language arts, and then I did math. So I have my things arranged this way. And it's easy to move things around. You just kind of click and grab things around, and they'll just shift in here with here. All of these I created a topic. So the topic is the date.
Mm-hmm.
And I get to that by clicking the create button, and I've created a topic, and you can type in whatever topic you want. Now, when we were in the classroom, my topics were my subjects.
Mm-hmm.
But I found that in distance learning, this worked much easier because it sort of mirrored the schedule and the agenda, what my students are doing for that day.
Right.
And it's easy to move things in and around here. So I have it, you can even grab the topics. You can move them up and down by clicking the 3 dots. You can rename it, delete it, move it down. I like it this way, just so when they come on Monday, it's the first thing they see.
Yes.
Now, they will not see anything until that day. So they won't see, for example, all these topics with nothing on it. Nothing will show up until that day. So I've also created an announcements topic. And this is where I will post announcements. This is usually pinned to the top, which I actually need to move it up. I've just been planning for next week, so I haven't moved it up yet. And this is where I'll post different announcements for them. I'll post our Zoom meeting IDs in here, links for different things, other things I find that will be useful for them.
Okay.
Okay. And at the end of the week, what I do is, so I don't have all of these things, I collapse my Monday through Friday into a week. So over here, if you can kind of see on the left hand of my screen, I put all of them by week. It's a little extra work, but again, that's what has helped me.
Right.
Just to group everything by week, because otherwise this gets very long.
Long, yes.
And so I've just I smush them all into a week. So I'll create a new topic, and I'll do this tomorrow, create a new topic for the assignments from this current week, Monday through Friday, and I'll just move everything into that. All you have to do is just change the topic, and it moves right into there.
Got it. Got it.
And yeah, so this is what's been working for me. Again, when we were in the classroom, I had things arranged by subject, but in distance learning, this seems to work really well for me and for my students.
I understand. So, all right, arrange it by topic, and then collapse it, move it over to the side so that you have, during the new week, you have your content for your students to go through easily. And it's arranged by the day, like a typical school day. Awesome. Yeah. So Yvette, what about you? What does your Google Classroom look like?
Mine is very similar to Mindy's. I've never thought of collapsing into 1 week, so I learned that as well. I'm going to share my screen so you have visual to what we're talking about. So mine is pretty similar. The kids, I think since August, I've told them kind of to ignore the stream because it's just, I actually turned it off this morning. In classwork is where they usually know where to go to. So the first thing that they see is my weekly class schedule and things they have to do outside of their assignment.
Okay.
Like register for this Friday's virtual field trip. There's a link for them so they don't have to go anywhere else. I do make it as an assignment so I know who did it. But then this is our schedule for the week, and I put it here, and I also send a copy to the parents, knowing because it changes from week to week depending on our virtual things. And they know red means they have to, blue means they're optional. So they're really and then I just update it every week, and I send it to the parents through class tag. That's what I use anyway. Then I do put all my Zoom links together because I have a reoccurring for math at 9:30, Monday through Thursday also. We also have either ELA or science or social studies because sometimes they're really integrated, so it's all in one. And then my office hours, and then I have my resource. They have a special Zoom link that they have that's reoccurring.
Can I pause right there and just, can you briefly talk about the way you do office hours? Because I think it's very interesting. You mentioned
well, office hours is a lot like a lab. Basically, I open up the Zoom and I start it, and I'm doing work on the side, and it's for anybody to come in. I've also invited parents. They can come in during that time if they want a quick question.
Yeah.
Most will email me. Some will, write me a message to class tag. But if they want a quick visual, because I can share my screen or they can share their screen.
Yes.
I had a student come in earlier at 1 o'clock. They were having trouble doing a breakout, like escape room for social studies. So he was able to show me where he was getting stuck. So it's just a quick thing in and out.
I love that.
I will answer questions outside of the office hours. That is just, they know they can wait till 1 and I will quickly be on there for them, and then they come on and they leave.
I love that.
Just say hi.
I think I'm going to start my office hours that way. I think that's awesome.
It's just the kids know you're there and they don't have to wait around for you, right?
That's awesome. I
Right.
love that. Yes.
And then I do the same thing with Mindy. I have my next week's schedule. You can, like you said, you could drag things, move them around. I always put question of the day. That's my attendance. And usually it's a silly question that they answer and then they turn in, you know, and then their PE, because usually we used to do PE in the morning before we came in. So there's some that do the workout before, then they press turn in and they turn it in. Then I had math right after. That's my 9:30. My scheduling's a little different because I don't want to say I like control, but I have to teach them the lesson, I feel, and it kind of makes them get on with me because they get on for math. Because they don't see it until 9:30 when they're logged in with me. So they're not tempted to do it before. All the ELA and social studies doesn't come on until 11 a.m., which is my second Zoom. Because some will jump around and do what they want without my direction.
Yes.
And I think that a lot of them will just come on just to hear me say exactly what to do, so they don't have any, they don't have any questions about it. That's just me. I know some people, just put it for the whole week. I just know that my students have a particular way of working, and I have adapted this many times. Believe me, it's like the first 4 weeks, I kept on rearranging everything. We finally found something that's been working.
Okay.
And so I have next week's up here. Friday is basically catch-up day, or we have like a tour, or, sometimes I just do a quick little fun game, Kahoot, and they can log in just to check in whatever they want to do. So, you could still add that. So it's really similar to Mindy's, the way that she does it as well.
Yes. But a schedule, the difference is a schedule of Zoom links and a schedule of must-dos and may-dos.
Well, parents were asking, and also keeps me accountable. Because I'm just like, oh, should I have lunch now? Or no, I have to do this now because, my kids are there. And also, parents need me. They know exactly when they can see me.
Exactly.
A week in advance.
Exactly. That's awesome. That's wonderful. And then you also have like May 11th, May 12th off to the side.
On the side. I delete after, I only keep the last 2 weeks. I've been deleting the assignments from here, but they don't delete from your files. So
yes.
So that's okay. At the very bottom, they know they have their quick links. They have their Epic link, their Amplified link. I like giving them links because then they say they can't find them. So they know where to go, link it, and it's their own Schoology link is on here. They want to look at their grades that I've entered. So I do have that at the very bottom.
That's great. So, wow, teachers, Yvette and Mindy, you both have your accounts where important links are easily accessible. You literally have a finger pointing to where they need to start, making it very, very organized and user-friendly for your students. Thank you. Thank you for these wonderful tips. But speaking of tips, let's move on to some more. Scheduling. I know that scheduling was mentioned earlier by Yvette, but did you want to elaborate on assignments and questions and materials and what the difference?
Sure, I'm going to share my screen again. What I meant by scheduling is I know that, even though I've been using it for so long, there's always new things that come up. Yes. And actually Mindy made this, she brought this to my attention about the scheduling, because I was having trouble with the kids going on even days in advance, because I like to schedule my week, because you get bombarded every day. You want to make sure it's organized and in order. So when you create, I'm just not actually going to post this, but you can go ahead and you put your topic in. The topic is usually the dates. My rubric, I use that, but even up here, the drop down, I even use the student where I've only had to, like yesterday, on Wednesday, the kids had an assignment on math, dividing and multiplying fractions.
Yeah.
And a lot of them were very successful. Then I had a handful who either didn't turn it in or needed remedial work with it or more intervention. So the ones that got it, I didn't assign them the homework for yesterday. I rewarded them with the congratulations, thank you for all your effort, and they had a free day. But then I picked the students who needed more intervention, and they got another assignment. And either they didn't do it, most of them, that's the case, or they needed help, so actually it would help them. But this is something that I really like, is that I can assign a particular thing and only they see it.
Yeah.
So it's something that I didn't use before and I've been using. And as far as the scheduling, you can schedule it up to the half hour. So I do like that because it is grayed out and the kids won't try to go ahead when they're not ready yet. We haven't watched the video or we haven't looked at the mystery science thing. I want them to actually have the background knowledge before they attempt something, just to check it off their list. That's not what this is about. So
Right.
this is like a day.
Right.
They have recess and so forth. Now, as far as the differences, this is where I would get really, I messed up so many times, but I made those errors, is the difference between an assignment, materials, and what was the other one? Assignment, materials, and questions. So, for example, questions and the assignments, those have the turn in option. So if you want your students to be able to say, yes, I did it, use one of those two options. Assignments mainly.
Say it one more time, because we need to hear that again.
All right, so when you create the assignments,
Yes.
that's a legitimate assignment.
Yes.
You either link something, or they have a form, or you have an attachment or something that they need to do, that you link to it. That is, you use it, because then there's that little button that says submit or turn in, right? The question also, it gives you the option of turning it in, but it's just that, a question. But they also turn it into you. Like my question of the day, I always put question because there's no form attached. There's nothing. It's just an answer. But I do want them held accountable, right? So assignment and question are the two things that holds them accountable, and their report to their parents or their final week report will show turned in or not. Now, if you just want to remind them, please make sure that you are registering for your field trip. You go to material, right? And it's just an announcement for them. There's no turn in button.
Got it.
Okay. The quiz, ignore the Cami, that's something totally different right now. But the quiz assignment is if you have a quiz, you want to create a quiz. I don't use them because I create them outside and then I just link them in. But the rest, that was my main thing, because I was accidentally making them all assignments, and I really didn't need to. And then they would show up missing, and the parents were really getting confused. Yeah. So I had to refine that, and I finally got it down to the way that I want it. Mindy, you want to join in on that?
Yeah, I did the exact same thing. When we first went into distance learning, everything was created as an assignment, and a lot of things, there wasn't anything to turn in. The one thing that I just wanted to kind of add on to that, when you are having them create an assignment, when they turn it in, some of my students were running into this where they would create something like a Google Doc or a Google Sheet or a slideshow, and they finished it and they would click turn in. But what they weren't doing, they were not attaching it from their drive. So this was one of the things that I just realized was happening. And so I described it to my students as your Google Drive is like your desk. I don't know what's in there. You have to take it out of your desk and hand it in. So it's the same thing as like taking it out of your drive and attaching it.
That's great.
So that was like just one of the things that I sort of assumed that they knew that. But a lot of them they thought that if they just clicked turn in, I could look inside their drive and pick it and choose what I wanted. And then once I explained it as it was like their desk, they were like, oh, okay.
I love that teacher move, Mindy. Comparing that drive like your desk. You gotta pull it out of your desk to turn it in.
Yeah, and a lot of students will create the assignment right there, or if it's attached to the assignment, they could just work on it and then just click turn in and it's already attached. But if they need to create something new, we were running into that problem. But it's a learning process, I think, for all of us.
Definitely.
And I do advise for the K through 2 or maybe 3 is creating the document for them and attaching it. Just to begin with. Later on, they get more savvy because they will have to know how to do it. But for our K2 teachers out there, attach it for them at the beginning, so it's already there.
A copy for each student. That's the other thing. Is when you are attaching the assignment for them, you want to make a copy for each student.
Yeah. So I heard you say anything that needs an answer submitted or work submitted for a grade that you want to look at. It's assignments and questions, not materials.
Right.
Okay, very good. And then, Mindy, you mentioned Stream as we were preparing for this episode. Will you tell us more about that, please?
Yeah. So I'll share my.
Let me not share.
Okay, so now we'll jump over to my screen here. And let me kind of get back to, okay, so the stream here. So this, again, where I was saying, this is where the students first log on and they see this. Well, the stream, if they click here, this is almost, it would, down here at the bottom of my screen where it says communicate with your class here. Anytime you create an assignment, an announcement, anytime you create anything for your students, no matter what it is, it'll show up in the stream. And what I was finding is that it gets very, very cluttered.
I bet. Yeah.
So I turned it off. And the way you do that is you can go into your settings, and let me move. So up here, the little wheel bar here is your settings for your class. And you just scroll down, and under general, where it says stream, I always keep this where only I can comment or post, because sometimes the students are still learning to be appropriate online. So I just have it where they can't post on the stream. And here on where it says classwork on the stream, I clicked hide notifications. Before it was on show condensed, but it was so much. So I just changed it to hide. And now there's nothing on the stream. So when the students log in, they have to go to classwork.
Got it.
So they have to go to the classwork tab, and then they will see their assignments there.
Neatly organized, exactly.
Yeah, it was just a little bit of an easier way for the students to see it. And then, like Yvette was saying, I kind of want to be a little bit controlling on how things look to them. I want it to be very streamlined and simple.
And I think your students appreciate that, a well-organized classroom that they can go to, navigate through easily, because you both are so mindful about clutter and about unnecessary notifications and getting rid of them. So thank you for that tip. And Mindy, finally, what's this to-do that you were also telling us before?
Over here, if I'm on my main page here, I call this the hamburger. I think everybody has a little name for it. I call it the hamburger. So I click on the hamburger, and it has like what I'm teaching. So there's this to do up there. So if I click on this is sort of like telling me what I still need to grade, what students have turned in, what they haven't turned in, and what I need to do. So I can kind of quickly look through here, and I'm like, well, this is the assignment I've got due today. I haven't started grading it at all yet because it's due today. But I can see here, what I haven't graded will be up on top, and then I can scroll down, think, oh, here's something from the 6th where I've got 2 students that turned it in. I haven't graded yet. So this is telling me that I need to go here, and I can quickly grade just those assignments instead of going back day by day by day.
Yes.
So it just
Okay.
helps me. And then once I'm done with an assignment, this is another thing that is nice. Once I'm completely done, I've graded it, it's all done,
Yes.
and I'm not accepting any more submissions, it's done, we're moving on. I'll click the 3 dots here and I'll mark as reviewed.
Mm-hmm.
And then it goes away from my to-do list.
Nice.
But if I make a mistake, I can always go back into what I've reviewed up here, and it'll show, everything will show up there.
Perfect.
But this just kind of helps me say, okay, what do I still need to do? And it's a really easy way to find things that students maybe, they didn't do something from Monday, and I can quickly see here what they've turned in without me looking to see, who still has to turn in work and who hasn't.
So teachers, thank you. If you can bring us back, Mindy.
There we go.
What I gleaned from listening to you both, you gave us organization tips as teachers, to be organized as teachers in Google Classroom, but you were also very mindful about the layout so that your students can navigate through, and be organized as well during the day, during the week. And so I thank you so much for all this knowledge and content, and I hope, and I'm sure that this was very, very helpful, and it cleared up a lot for our teachers out there who are using Google Classroom, excuse me. And so again, Yvette, Franco, and Mindy Nieland, thank you so much for your time, and we'll talk again.
Thank you.
Thank you, Esther.